Hi everyone, Paul Levy here with Brownells, and we're doing another Facebook Live here. This time we're talking lightweight AR-15s or ultralight AR-15s. I'm joined by Steve Ostrem.
Morning.
As always. Today we're basically going over extremely lightweight parts. We'll hit on some standard AR-15 parts, how much they weigh, but there's a lot of people, a lot of customers especially, asking how much certain items weigh because they're trying to get the lightest AR-15 build possible. Whether that's because they want just to try it out, to just go extreme and get as light as possible, or say they got a patrol rifle they want to get as light as possible, ounces or pounds when you add it all up at the end of the day. So there's various reasons why you may want a lightweight build. Nobody wants to end up with a 15-pound rifle at the end of the day once you tack everything on there. So it's definitely a strong customer interest, and if you have questions yourself, go ahead and send them our way on Facebook. We'd be happy to answer them or answer them live. Again, we're live right now. So send in your questions. We'll answer as many as we can, and we'll try and cover as many topics as we can related to lightweight stuff. You'll also see we got some scales here. So we are going to be weighing these various products we got laid out. So if you have a question about a particular product and how much it weighs, or how much it weighs in comparison to something, we'll try our best to scrounge it up here. If not, if we can't get it here, we'll get back to you after the video, and we'll go weigh it ourselves and answer your question afterwards. So first up, we got a few questions already from some people that asked on Facebook. Do the slim profile pencil barrels retain zero over long strings of fire? Is that something you hear about a lot?
It can happen, but more than likely they'll wander as they heat up.
Yeah.
Now I had an M16A1 in basic training that would hold at zero all day long. Out of 200 yards, it was still putting them all in the same disc.
And we actually have one of those right here. It's not an original, but basically that same profile. There's an original A1. That's got a 20-inch barrel, of course. So the AR-15 was originally pretty lightweight. That's about a 7-pound gun. We can weigh that just to see how much they originally were. See how close I am to my guesstimate.
I'm getting a little over 7 pounds here.
Yeah, so the original rifle, as it was intended, was about 7 pounds. Now when you talk about extreme lightweight, what a lot of people are doing now, you're talking that 4-pound range.
Right.
Usually guys build them about 5 pounds, finding most of the off-the-shelf parts. So you're taking a rifle that was originally 7 pounds and taking it all the way down to 5, even 4.
Anything below 5 would be considered lightweight to me.
Yeah, that's just super lightweight. And you'll kind of see, I got an A2 here also to kind of show you where we've gone. You're going to grab that, Steve, and weigh that. And these rifles have kind of gotten heavier over the years.
See, we're almost at 7.5 pounds there.
Yeah, 7.5. And then if I drop this A1 over here, I'll take that one from you. So M4s too, with the attachment methods, you can start tacking on a lot of stuff. All of a sudden you got 8-9-pound guns. So a lot of people now want to lighten that up a bit.
Well, we've gone the other route. Everybody's tacked about anything onto their AR they possibly could with the quad rail system and everything.
Yeah.
Plugging on flashlights, bipods, lasers, you name it.
So it depends on your intended purpose of your gun anyways, what you want to do with it. Sometimes that suits you, sometimes you want to go lightweight. We got a question here from Tim K. Lightest low-profile adjustable gas block. What would be the best option there, you think?
It depends on if you want to go steel or aluminum. If you're going to shoot the gun a lot, I would definitely stick with steel. And we have a real small one from, we got the adjustable from Sadlac, which is very small. But we've also got a very small one from Yankee Hill.
Yeah, and I believe there's some new ones from Superlative Arms.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
I saw those.
And if you're going super lightweight, you're probably going to want a 625 diameter barrel. The standard government 750 is a little wider there at the gas block. So obviously the barrel is going to make up a lot of your weight. So you want a 625 barrel and then get a 625 gas block. And that's probably going to be the lightest option. Superlative Arms, you can mount one on there, it's adjustable, and it fits a 625 profile barrel. Keep it as light as possible. And those are steel.
And that's one of your greatest weight savings is in the barrel. How you choose the barrel is going to determine a lot of what your gun's going to end up at.
Yeah, and right here I have a Faxon barrel. This is probably, this is me just spitballing here, this is probably one of the lightest barrels we sell that's a 16-inch barrel. You can see how slim they went.
Well, the fluted version here too is
yeah.
a little lighter.
Here's say a standard government profile, you know, 750 gas block, trimmed down to that A2 profile onto the handguards. These are noticeably different.
Right, even the fluting, you know, that's a standard M4 barrel that's been fluted. You can feel the difference, but it's not nearly as light as this pencil profile here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and weigh some of these. Let's weigh that government barrel first. See what that looks like.
Okay. 1 pound, 13 ounces.
Yeah, throw that fluted one on
Pretty
there.
heavy. The Faxon fluted is 1 pound, 11 ounces, 10 ounces. It's going down to 10. Scale finally made up its mind.
Toss that little guy on there. That's probably dramatically lighter.
And the pencil barrel is 1 pound, 3.8 ounces.
Yeah, so right there you shave off half a pound on just your barrel selection.
It's just 1.25 pounds is all that is right there.
Yep.
Nothing to it.
So obviously the steel components on an AR-15, the more weight you shave off those, the better off you're going to be. So your barrel, we'll get to the bulk carrier groups in a sec, but that's another steel component that you can really save some weight on. I got a question here from earlier. Do steel parts have trouble mating with titanium ones? Specifically about muzzle brakes.
Not really. It's good practice to put anti-seize on there just in case. You know, anytime you're putting two dissimilar metals together, just put some kind of barrier between them. Anti-seize will do it. I put a lot of them together dry and never had a problem, but if it makes you feel better, the anti-seize will do everything you want. Crush washer will keep it nice and tight. You don't have to worry about it coming loose.
Is there more concern there with moving parts of different materials?
With moving parts, it can be a problem, right? But if you're just screwing two parts together and they stay stationary, no big deal.
Okay, good to know. Here's another question about just titanium specifically. A lot of people obviously like titanium because of its tensile strength and just how light it is comparable to steel. Can you paint, blue, or parkerize titanium?
You can't blue or parkerize it because you have to have steel for that. But you can paint it. You can use all the coatings like Duracoat, Gun Coat, you name it, Cerakote. They'll all work on it. Just standard metal prep like you would for any other steel or aluminum part.
Okay. And just a reminder too, we are live right now, so shoot us some questions. We'd be happy to answer them. We got lots of time. Be happy to address any questions you have about your ultra lightweight build. We're talking extreme lightweight AR-15 components and builds right now. We have another question here from earlier. Will a lighter weight gun have more felt recoil?
Yes, yes, because a lighter gun has less inertia, so it's going to come back quicker.
In most cases, you're still going to be firing 223, 5.56, so
it's not going to be
shoulder shattering.
No,
you're going to be okay.
Not going to be a problem. It's not like using a snub nose 357 Magnum as opposed to an 8-inch pistol.
Yeah, it's just that impulse is just slightly different. Nothing too big to worry about there.
No.
And what constitutes a lightweight AR? We kind of, I guess, gave our parameters for that at the beginning. I wouldn't consider an A1 necessarily lightweight.
No, not anymore.
But when you get into that 4 pound range, I think that's where you're talking.
Right. Back in the day, it was a lightweight because they were comparing it to like an M14 or an FAL.
Sure.
It was a super lightweight back then, but now not so much.
Yeah. Is a steel or polymer mag lighter? And we happen to have both of those right here. We have probably.
I'm not sure. I'm betting on the aluminum mag, to be honest with you. And I haven't weighed these yet, so I've got 4.4 ounces for the aluminum. Polymer's coming in at 5.4.
So there you go. Aluminum mag is in the same capacity as lighter. Now you could always go to a lower capacity, I suppose.
If you use a 20-round mag, it's going to be lighter yet. Yeah.
So aluminum of the same capacity is going to be just slightly lighter. August asks, is a magnesium blower at any risk of catching fire on an AR-15? I'm guessing August is referencing the Mag Tactical little receiver you see out there.
I'm sure if you got hit with an incendiary bullet of some kind, you could set it on fire.
Sure. You
can set magnesium on fire by machining it if it gets too hot, too much friction, but likely not. That's going to happen. Not going to happen in your lifetime. No.
I've never heard of any instance of that happening.
No.
Yeah. So I think you'd probably be fine with those. What is the purpose of a lightweight bulk carrier group? Let's look at some bulk carrier groups.
Well, here's a standard, for example.
So as far as purpose goes, that's all about, there's a few purposes. And this discussion right here, just lowering the overall weight of your gun, that's part of the goal. Where some of these originated, especially with this JP bulk carrier group, it was softening that recoil impulse. So the less mass you have reciprocating, the less that recoil is going to be, the more you can stay on target. So
Plus they run faster too, don't they?
Yep, they run faster. They're going to be going back forward faster. So JP, the kings of optimizing AR-15s for competition, they kind of originated this a while back, mainly for competition, and it's kind of come back. This is an aluminum one here, mainly because of this interest in just lightweight builds.
It's a thing now. The standard bolt carrier is about 10.2 ounces. Now if we put the JP aluminum on there, it's for 4.3.
Wow.
Yeah,
so that's
huge difference.
About
and you can feel it easily.
So if you want to go extreme on that, an aluminum carrier. There are of course titanium carriers as well. We don't actually happen to have one of those.
No.
Oh, there's one in this gun here. That's complete. We can get to that maybe later. But titanium's kind of in that middle ground, I believe.
Yep, it is.
Between aluminum.
Just a little bit denser than aluminum.
Yep. Sean asks, can the increased felt recoil of a lightweight AR be counteracted with an appropriate muzzle device?
Sure. Yeah, you get a super efficient muzzle brake like the OpSync or something like that. It's got those huge perpendicular surfaces. You'll take the kick out. Yeah, this is one from V7 that operates on that same principle. You see those walls there that the muzzle blast hits? Now, of course, it's going to direct it out to the side, so anybody standing aside of you is going to have that muzzle brake effect.
They're going to love you, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're going to love you on the range. But this is a super lightweight muzzle brake here, and this would be ideal for a lightweight build like that.
And I believe that's titanium. We've got a few other
muzzle devices. This feels very light.
We've got a few other muzzle devices from V7 that are also titanium.
Right. Here's a standard, pretty much a standard flash hider. It's got a closed bottom to kind of direct the gases upward, so it'll help with the rise, but it won't help with the recoil. It'll still come back the same way it always does.
If you want to weigh that guy, I'll weigh the steel one here.
Let's see, I've got 1.6 ounces.
And the standard A2 is 2.2 ounces.
Yeah.
So right there, if you're adding all these small components up, which we'll get to some of these other small components, you know, you could probably shave off a pound just, you know, cutting here and there. It's surprising how much that adds up.
The brake's only 2.3 ounces.
There you go.
And that's a super, super efficient looking brake there.
Yep. So let's take a look at this rifle. This is a rifle one of our coworkers, Michael, put together for SHOT Show. And his goal for that was to build basically the lightest gun he could with stuff we had off the shelf at Brownells.
And this weighs nothing.
Yeah, this weighs
4
pounds, 3 ounces is what this weighs.
That's what it was.
And he could have even gone a little further. We were kind of strapped for time and we pinned this muzzle device on that's steel. If we'd gone with a titanium muzzle device, it would have been very close to 4. So it's mostly a lot of V7 stuff on here. So the receivers are V7 armament. We have a 2A armament bulk carrier group, which I want to say is titanium, not 100% on that. We have the battle arm saber tube, which basically is an integral tube. So instead of attaching a stock to it, you basically have your buffer tube and then an aluminum butt plate thrown on, and then that's your stock assembly.
That's all there is to that.
Yeah, we'll weigh those.
Very compact.
Yeah, we'll weigh those in a sec. That's a really clever idea from Battle Arms. You've also got some titanium components, such as the safety. Trigger, not much you can do there. You want that steel, you want that proper materials. Some of the small stuff, though, the takedown pins, the mag releases, titanium, the ejection port cover, titanium. Now, here's a cool one. This one is a carbon fiber handguard, basically fiber wrapped, and basically provides some extreme strength while being lightweight. Obviously, it's great for ventilation.
Yeah.
That's the most ventilated handguard I've probably seen. So that's a handguard we now sell, and it's probably the lightest one we have with this type of configuration, basically out to 12 inches or so.
That's from Brigand Arms?
Brigand Arms, yep. And then the barrel itself, I want to say that's a Faxon, the lightest barrel we pretty much offer.
It looks like it.
Yep. And then under there you have a titanium gas block, and I want to say that's from, that's Battle Arms. It's marked there on the side.
Okay. So
extremely lightweight parts. That's back to the gas blocks. If you want to go lightweight, we have titanium versions as well. So that's a super lightweight build. Obviously, when you're picking your optic too, you know, you want to go
Right.
with RMR or something.
This is about as light as you can get right there.
Yeah, and it's a really practical red dot sight. It's a darn reliable one too.
So if you had to go mountain climbing with an AR, this is the one you'd want.
Yeah, you can sling this up, and there are sling attachments you can purchase for this. You know, slinging this around, hiking with it, that's not going to be as cumbersome. Say it's a rifle, double its weight.
Right. And while we were at SHOT Show, we had this up with a lot of other guns, a lot of other dream guns on the shelves, and this one attracted the most attention by far, I think.
Yeah. Sean asks, Dave asks, what are your thoughts on all polymer lowers? I don't know if we sell any right now.
We don't at the moment.
We sell the 80%.
80%, yep.
So we sell those from Polymer 80. That's a good way to save some weight, and they're coming a long ways. Historically, polymer lowers, they had a tough time.
Right, they
with
did.
Strength, but I think those concerns have been answered. You'll probably see us carry more down the road if we see some that are practical and hold up well.
Yeah, with all the new polymer frame guns and everything, it's just, you know, the pistols and everything kind of led the way.
Yeah.
The AR's following naturally.
There's not a whole lot of stress on the lower receiver itself. It's mainly in that barrel extension.
That's it. That holds everything together, the upper end.
So the reinforced portion you typically see on the polymer lower receivers is back here. That's this neck right here is what you have to worry about. But otherwise, they work fine, especially if it's a range gun that you just want to get as light as possible. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Marshall asks, what are some lightweight barrel nuts? Well, that's a good question. We have some.
We have these here.
Now these happen to be for the Bravo Company KMR style handguards.
Right.
So if you've got a KMR Alpha or the original KMR, which is like a magnesium aluminum blend, is super lightweight handguard.
Like an ounce and a half.
Yeah, you can get one of those.
And this is the natural color, and we have it in black too. So.
And that's from V7. You can also get the standard USGI barrel nut. Say if you want to keep your standard polymer handguards, they're just carbine drop-in or whatever length handguard you have. You can get the standard barrel nut in titanium. So that's probably your best answer there.
Yeah.
Ryan asks, what is that Brigand handguard made of, and how does it attach? So that's carbon fiber, basically strands.
Yes, that's what it is. That they're woven strands, and then they're, I don't know if they're dipped or if they're glued together or what, but it's rigid. You'd think you'd be able to crush this, and you can't.
Yeah.
You just cannot.
Yep, and it attaches like a standard YHM or DPMS handguard would. So it's got the inside nut and then the outer nut.
It comes with all its own hardware, basically.
It comes with standard hardware, and I believe it installs using a standard wrench, right? With the yeah, so you don't need a proprietary wrench to install that. And of course, if you ever have questions about installation of the handguards or any other products, you can always give us a call on the tech line. It's a free service we have. If you're lucky, you can
that's what we're here for.
If you're lucky, you can talk to Steve. He's on the line there. So yeah, give us a call if you ever have questions. We're here to help.
Yeah, when you call the tech line, you get to talk to an actual gunsmith, someone who works on guns.
Yep. And also, we're live right now, so send in your questions. We'd be happy to answer them on air. We got a lot of time. We got a lot of parts here to cover. If we don't get to your question, we will follow up afterwards and get you an answer. If you're curious about how much a part weighs or what's the best part for a certain application, we'll find out and we'll get back to you. Landon asks, is the gas block on that rifle adjustable? How does that work with a lightweight bull carrier group? I don't believe this one is.
That particular one is not, but we have a similar one from Sirach, I think, that you can adjust your gas flow and even everything out with that lighter carrier to kind of make sure your system's not overgassed.
Yep. So adjusting your gas block, that's all about pretty much preference and making sure your gun runs, right?
Right, and if you're shooting, you know, NATO ammo or some target white box ammo that may not be quite as powerful, if you're shooting 223 versus 556, you know, the pressure's going to be different.
So this is just a standard gas block, low profile, but titanium. Yep, so that's that one there. Let's dive into some receiver weights. We've got a few receivers here we can take a look at.
There's a standard right there.
Yeah, if you want to weigh the standard, that's an Anderson strip lower receiver, forged.
This is pretty typical of all of them.
Yep, good quality lower receiver.
And we're at 9.3 ounces, so 9 1/3 ounces.
Let's weigh the V7. So that's a This is a lithium aluminum. It's kind of a blend of material, I believe.
Yeah. This, you can feel it's lighter already. And it's coming in at 7.5 ounces. So already we're, you know, almost 2 ounces less.
Let me see if I can get this guy. Oh, they got their pins in there pretty tight. I have to weigh this one as a set. So here we got a, this is an F1 firearms receiver set. And those pins, these are match sets.
Oh,
and those pins
yeah.
are going to have to be punched out because that is fit extremely
They're nice
well.
and tight.
So let's actually weigh that together, and we'll do the same with the V7 and the Anderson.
Okay. All right. Total package is 1 pound, 1 1/3 ounces.
Yeah, and they basically, that's aluminum still. They just went with, let's hog out as much material that's not necessary as possible. Here's the mil spec set, the forged aluminum.
Just a little over a pound.
Wow.
Just a little.
So that's okay. So that's a little bit more. Or is this?
This was 1 pound 3 ounces,
okay.
I think. Now this, we've got the all V7 components. This should be quite different here. Yeah, 13 ounces.
Yeah. So that gets you under a pound.
You can,
depending on your
you can just feel this
receiver weight.
And we don't have to add anything here. I mean, the trigger guard's already done and everything.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And frankly, a lot of people like this type of receiver for the aesthetics alone. It's got improved looks. They did some pretty neat styling on it.
Yeah,
Same with the F1.
This is nice here.
Yeah,
this
if you get say you get a nickel boron or a titanium nitride carrier in there, it can really pop.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep. So Susan asks, who made the optic and mount on the lightweight version? So that's a Trijicon RMR. And the mount, I want to say is Scalar Works.
I think it is an aftermarket. It's not.
Yep, I want to say Scalar Works is who makes that. So RMR, we sell that mount as well. And that's, I don't know if I could take that guy off or not.
That's a true minimalist mount there. There's nothing to it.
Kind of ratchets on there. If you want to weigh that.
Okay, your total sighting equipment is coming in at about 3.5 ounces. Now that's pretty good. That's about as low as you can go.
Think about that in comparison to putting a scope or something like that on your rifle. Even some of the tube red dots, you know, that's easily a fraction of what.
Even the MOE sights would be close to that.
Oh yeah, just the standard flip up.
Yeah, because they have to have some steel hardware in them to work.
Absolutely. Is there a tool or tool set that can replace all proprietary tools to build AR-15s? So I'm guessing a tool set for just proprietary parts from each brand.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, each company tends to provide its own wrench with the forend you're using.
Yeah, and that's the good thing is even if they have a proprietary tool, it usually comes with the part.
It's just a stamped piece of steel a lot of times. There's not much to it. It doesn't add a lot to the cost.
Yep. Nothing too crazy there. Jake asks, with the open structure on the handguard, how bad is heat transfer to the hand after sustained usage? But frankly, I haven't shot this a lot with, you know, firing hundreds of rounds, so I couldn't accurately tell you that.
My guess would be it's just going to go straight up. So if you got your hand under here, you're going to feel very little other than the radiant heat. Yeah. But most of it's going to go up. You
know, the carbon fiber itself isn't going to heat up. The problem you'd run into is, you know, sticking your fingers in there and touching the gas tube or the barrel. So the barrel's still steel. It's still going to heat up with usage like any other barrel. So if you touch it when it's hot, you're going to get burned.
Right.
So this handguard itself, though, you can hold on to that. You'll be fine.
That'll stay cool.
Let's take a look at some buttstocks. We haven't hit on those yet. Here's a this one was kind of surprising when I checked it out before. There's a standard just GI M4 buttstock.
That's your cheapy plastic buttstock, M4 style. And it's got a metal fitting for your sling there. Comes at a little over 7 ounces, 7.3.
And here we have a Magpul MOE, probably one of the most durable buttstocks on the market.
Right. See, that's up to 9.6, but it is a much stronger stock.
Yeah, you're going to be hard pressed to damage.
This is what I put on a lot of my guns.
And now here's a Mission First Tactical. A lot of guys like this for lightweight builds.
Now this is pretty light. You know, coming in at 7.1.
Yeah, so
about 7 ounces.
It's actually just a little bit over the M4.
Right.
But the other nice features on this, it's got a QD socket. It's of course got the styling going on and the rubber butt pad.
Yep.
So
Dead minimalist. It's nice.
So a few options there on your buttstocks. I guess one we should point out, we already talked about it a bit, is the saber tube from Battle Arms. So the buttstocks, they'll obviously need a buffer tube still to mount on.
Right.
So you got the buffer tube weight and you got your stock weight. So there's a buffer tube.
Okay, let's see what that's going to add to all of these. See, it's almost 5 ounces, 4.7 ounces. So you got to add that to each one of these.
So there you're, what, 12 or so?
Right.
Check out the saber tube. Well, basically a complete stock with tube.
Saber, the whole package is about 7.5 ounces.
Yes.
So I don't think you can go much below that.
Yep. So basically, unless
That's
you just
incredible.
didn't even put a butt plate on it.
Right.
So that's a good option if you want a complete assembly with the buffer tube and everything to go out of the box. That's from Battle Arms.
Right. And that's why we went with it on the Dream Gun.
Yep. And plus it looks pretty darn cool.
It does. It's nice. It is.
Jade asks, wouldn't a carbon fiber barrel have been lighter? Possibly. We have one here. This is a bit larger diameter barrel. This one's from Christensen Arms. And if you want to check that out.
Yeah, this particular one I don't think is designed for extreme lightweight because it's they're 1 pound 10 ounces, but they've got a large profile barrel underneath here, almost like an M4 that's been streamlined.
Could you talk about just the construction of carbon fiber barrels?
Yeah, it's really slick. What you'll do is you'll turn a straight section in here. The barrel's quite thin in there normally. You slide the sleeve over and you cap it with a metal cap. So this carbon sleeve is captured between these two metal caps and encloses the barrel. This one here is put together a little differently. It's got a metal section coming out here for your gas block. So this is captured back here between these two, these segmented carbon fiber, and this piece is captured by the muzzle cap. Now, if you got like a Ruger 1022 barrel or something, it'll just be captured at the extreme ends.
Now, with some carbon fiber barrels, they'll actually wrap them with the carbon fiber
Right.
wrap, won't they?
Right, they will. I've never seen these made.
Yeah.
Some are sleeved and glued, some are wrapped.
Yeah, and one of the big benefits, weight savings is a nice part of it, but they're also with heat they prevent heat buildup a lot better than a standard barrel.
They do, and this one's more or less made to maintain more rigidity for the weight.
So that same profile steel barrel, it's just as rigid as that,
Right.
but it doesn't have the weight.
Right, but they can take a pencil barrel like this and sleeve it, and you'll have that lightweight because the carbon fiber adds nothing, basically.
Yep. You'll see a lot of those on precision builds. Yep.
Yep.
So to answer that question a bit more thoroughly, we chose a lightweight, just a steel barrel, because it just wouldn't have the additional carbon fiber wrap on it, and it's less expensive. So really, we probably saved a very minimal amount of weight by going that route. Why the cross machine tool muzzle device on the Dream Gun build? What are the other options? To be frank with you, we actually were going to put a titanium one on this, but we were bringing it to SHOT Show and we had to pin and weld it, and we didn't have a titanium pin to weld the titanium on. So that's why.
Okay, that makes sense.
So we were actually going to go with the titanium. This is actually a 14.7 inch barrel, and we were going to attach this muzzle device to it, but we just didn't have the titanium pin to weld it properly to comply with BATF. So that's why we did that. So this is a V7 titanium muzzle device. It's extended, so you can take a 14.7 all the way to 16, and then you can pin and weld it. Right there, you can see we got the cutout for it.
If you have a 16-inch barrel, you can do something really radical and just put a thread protector on it and shoot it without a device on the end, just like a conventional rifle.
Yeah. You can
save some weight.
There you go. You can always leave it off.
Yeah.
So there are a few other options out there. Of course, the standard A2 isn't that heavy. We just weighed it there earlier, 2.2 ounces. And you can also go with a titanium-style muzzle device as well. Let's see, what other parts haven't we discussed? We got a bunch of small parts.
We've got some real lightweight stuff. Here's some forward assists that weigh almost nothing. We've got some castle nuts made out of titanium.
Now these are
From
both, back
V7.
to these guys, these
Yeah.
are both upgraded ones, both from V7. So the standard forward assist is aluminum, and I think the back plate on these, they're either aluminum as well, or they slimmed them down, or they're titanium. I don't know offhand.
You don't notice much of a difference with each individual part, but if you take the whole pile of parts for the lower and the upper, put them together and weigh them compared to the conventional ones, that's where you see the savings.
Yep, yep. So we do have some end plates. These look like, this feels like a
V7.
titanium one.
Yep, there's the black version of it.
Yeah, and these are both the same material. One they just happened to coat.
Right.
They did a DLC coating, I believe, on that.
It'll match any AR part.
Yeah. So if we weigh these, I don't think we have a standard end plate assembly. That's barely on the scale. That's 0.6 ounces.
Yeah,
So
half an ounce.
whereas opposed to the normal parts, these would be steel. I'm assuming would be probably double that.
Yep.
So
Normally for titanium, you can count just about double the weight.
yeah. Here we've got some ejection port covers. You want to throw some of those on?
I don't know how much of a difference this is going to make.
That's probably more of
let's
an
use this
aesthetic thing, right?
one. Yeah,
So that's 0.5 ounces.
it's a half an ounce for your standard military issue, what have you. This is a titanium one.
It does.
It's 4.4, and this should be identical. I think this is just a colored one.
That's actually
No,
less.
for some reason that one's lighter. It's like half the weight of this one.
I think there might actually be one's aluminum and then one's titanium. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure we offer both. Both
Okay.
those.
That
So
makes sense.
you can actually save some weight. I wouldn't believe this unless we just weighed that there.
Yeah.
But you can actually save some weight on the ejection port cover. Now, if you choose to even install one, you can always leave it off, of course,
Right.
and just not have an ejection port cover.
But if you do install one, we've also got this super lightweight hinge pin. And the conventional spring stays the same, of course, but this pin weighs almost nothing. Is that titanium, do you know?
I think it's titanium.
Yeah, because I don't even know if it's going to register, you know.
0.1. It's
0.1.
barely on the scale.
Yeah.
Tim asks, any weight-saving advantage going with Armaspec New Stealth recoil spring versus regular buffer and spring? I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm
myself.
not either, but usually you either have to have mass or spring power to counteract that bolt. And I'm guessing it's going to be very close no matter which way you do it. The physics has to work out the same in the end.
I'm afraid we're just not familiar with that part.
Yeah.
We'll check it out, though. I don't think that's not one that we carry, but we'll look into it.
Yeah, the recoil section is someplace you can't save a lot of weight as far as the buffer and the spring. We got those high-speed buffers from someone, though, don't we?
JP actually
Yeah,
sells some lightweight.
I should have known.
They
I
are
should've
they
known.
are rifle length buffers. So again, if you're doing a competition build,
Right.
JP sells a few parts that are lightweight for the operating system that can really work well. So they've got the buffer, they've got the aluminum bolt carrier, which we have right there, and then they have the adjustable gas block.
Yeah.
So you can tune the gas block to your lightweight components and get a really soft shooting gun.
Jean-Paul is very animate about controlling your gas system.
Yep.
When you go with the other lighter parts like this, you do have to dial down your gas a lot of times.
Yeah, he's the master at it. Jade asks, what type of low receiver would you use for a battle-ready AR, aluminum or polymer? Oh,
Battle ready?
That's probably subjective.
I'd go with the current military doctrine and go aluminum.
Yep.
If it was going to have to be, used a lot and beat around a lot.
So this style receivers, these aluminum forged receivers, they've been around for what, 60 years now?
They've proven they've stood the test of time.
Yeah. If you're going battle ready, that's probably the way to go. You could, of course, select these standard forged receivers and build on lightweight components that are going to be pretty darn durable. Say a Faxon barrel, that's 4150 steel. This isn't any less of a steel than other barrels. So you can go lightweight on other components if you have that purpose in mind.
I think there'll come a day when we can, go with a polymer lower,
No problem.
just like we do on the pistols now, but you don't see polymer pistols crack anymore like you did at first.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Okay. Do we cover all the parts out here? We got a
Well, there's a few things you really can't do much about. You can use a titanium firing pin if you like.
Sure.
A conventional firing pin is going to be, I don't have a titanium one to weigh here, but
And people tend to like to have those just for perceived lock time, right?
right. Right. That's the big advantage with titanium. See, that's only 0.3 ounces.
Yeah.
You can't save a lot of weight on the bolt. You're stuck with the bolt. It's got to have a certain amount of mass and a certain amount of strength, and you only get that with steel.
And there's only a few steels you can do that with.
Yeah.
9310, Carpenter 158.
That's right.
You're kind of limited.
So, another place, a cam pin, I'd be leery of substituting anything but good tool steel for that, because it takes a lot of stress. This part gets beat up as bad as the extractor or the lugs or anything else, so I wouldn't want to try to save weight there.
Yep. We do have scope rings we could talk about. Now these are different diameters, but it'll give a pretty good perception. If you want to check that one out over there.
It's going to be pretty hefty, I'll bet. Let's see. Yeah, we're at 9.5 ounces. Well,
Yes.
9.5 ounces.
So with scope rings, you can go a few different ways. You can go rigid with features, quick detach mounts. Here we have an Aero Precision mount. This happens to be a 1-inch tube. But that guy there weighs 3.1 ounces.
Yeah.
So if you're going to mount an optic or a scope in particular, these are probably the lightest mounts that we carry from Aero Precision. They're made out of aluminum. They don't have anything extra on them. They got just standard Torx screws holding everything together. They just have the two on the rings. They basically clamp together up top. Pretty neat item there.
Yeah, that's significantly lighter. It really is. Of course, you have to choose your scope very carefully also. I imagine a 1-inch is going to save you weight over a 30 millimeter.
Yeah.
Things like that. You know, don't go for the big honking sniper scopes if you want a 5-pound AR.
And it's all about your intended purpose too.
Right.
Yep. So what are follow-up shots like? Is there added muzzle flip due to how lightweight the rifle is?
There can be, unless you have the appropriate muzzle device on. Like I said, this V7, oh, I got the wrong one. This V7 muzzle brake out of titanium doesn't add much weight, but it directs all the force up. So the gun will come back into your shoulder without rising significantly. For the ultimate though, you want something like this. Something that really cuts down drastically on the recoil. And if I remember right, this doesn't weigh significantly more than the flash hider does. So as long as you use a good muzzle brake, no, you won't notice a difference.
Okay. Jason asks, does anyone use or make titanium gas tubes?
I've never seen one. I think they'd be ridiculously hard to machine.
Yeah, I've never seen one out there.
Yeah.
And pretty much every tube out there they're usually stainless steel, and they're pretty thin anyways.
They're thin. There wouldn't be much weight savings, I don't think.
Yeah. So that's what most of them are. Sean asks, what concerns will I have with a lightweight AR as far as cycling goes? How do I know which buffer weight and gas block will cycle the gun reliably?
And that goes back to regulating your gas again. If you use a lightweight bolt, look into a regulated gas block and dial your gas in until your gun's just cycling perfectly, locking back each time, you know, on an empty magazine. And balance the gun out. A lot of guns are being shot that are unbalanced, but the system's got it built in when you're using standard components. When you go to the lightweight components, it becomes more critical. You have to balance it exactly.
Maybe you could elaborate a bit on that when you go to adjust your gas block, locking back. What's that test? What's that like?
What I do is you fire one shot in your magazine, and if the bolt, you start with your gas closed or almost all the way closed, you'll see your bolt will open a little bit. Open up your gas block a little more, allow a little more gas to come into the system. Bolt will come back a little further each time. Pretty soon it'll start ejecting, and at some point you'll reach where it'll actually lock back on an empty magazine. You know the bolt has traveled its full length. Then I open it another quarter turn just to be sure, just to give it that little extra to allow for grit, drag, whatever, and that's pretty much there. Each company has really good instructions on how to dial in their gas block. But that's how I normally do it, and it works very well for me. I do it a lot on 308s too. Yep.
Basically the old FAL style adjustment.
Right.
That's how you adjust your
just
FAL
dial it in according to what ammo you're shooting. A lot with an FAL, you never know what you're going to get around the world.
Now it basically goes. Lightweights aren't so much different than a standard AR-15 build. No. You got to use quality components, and you sometimes have to experiment with different barrel length gas systems, different components to get it to work. ARs do bolt together pretty well and usually run fine, but sometimes you got to tweak some things.
It's pretty common.
Yep.
especially with lightweight components in the bolt area.
Yep. It seems like most people have figured out the lightweight components now. That we figured out a lot of things, and they're getting these guns.
I think the three gunners have shown the way.
Yeah.
And JP's been doing it for what, 20 years, 30 years?
Yeah, a while
I mean,
now.
forever.
Yep.
That guy knows his stuff.
Yep. Any lightweight grip suggestions?
Well,
So we didn't have one off a gun here. This one here is a Magpul MOE K grip.
right.
Not much there. There's no storage compartment. It's pretty thin. It's pretty short. This is probably about as light as you're going to get.
Right. The BCM gunfighters don't weigh much more.
Yeah.
I put a couple of those on, they'd weigh almost nothing.
Yeah, I have seen some guys, if they've got smaller hands, they'll just cut grips off too if they want to save
Yeah.
some weight. So you can always do some modification on your own if you're capable of it.
If you dare.
Yep. So I personally like this one, plus the texture is nice on this. It's
Right.
It feels pretty good. And also with a shorter stock, you sometimes want a more vertical grip, because when you go to shoulder it, your grip angle is going to be slightly changed. So that more vertical grip angle
Sure.
is often preferable.
And try to go for built-in sling mounts like this. Anything that cuts weight where you don't have to add something extra to the rifle.
Exactly, yeah. There's a part where you don't have to buy another end plate to attach your sling.
Yep.
Same with up front. If you wanted to with this rifle as is, you could put a single point sling
Right.
on it and be okay. There's also one in the back of the saber tube. I don't know if we showed that off earlier. So this actually has two QD sockets on it as is.
Right. But a single point sling system would probably be your lightest option there. Not by much, but
Yeah.
it would be a little lighter.
So we got this question, why a lightweight build? What reasons are given to build a lightweight gun beyond shooting sports? Now there's probably a few answers
Well,
there.
The main answer is we've tried everything else. We might as well go lightweight.
Yeah, so the main reason people want to do is because they want to go to extreme. It's something fun to do. It's something
Yeah.
to customize. It's one of those project guns.
Yeah.
It can be pretty fulfilling, especially when you have a weight goal in mind.
Got a lot of research to do, a lot of shopping to do.
Yeah, and if you're out west and you got a lot of land, you're going to be hiking around a lot, patrolling it. You know, you got to carry other things.
In a situation like that, a gun like, that weighs a little over 4 pounds is easy to just grab with one hand, bring it up, get it into battery and go.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but 3 pounds off a gun, that can add up over time.
Sure can.
And it's all about, a lot of this comes down to personal preference. Certain people like that, other people don't want to shave that weight off. They'd rather put it into other accessories and other purposes on their rifle. So we're by no means going to dictate on how you build out your AR-15.
Right. Most of my builds are heavier than 4.3 pounds, I can
Yep.
assure you.
Yep. Hopefully that answers that question. We can jump back to it if that doesn't fully. Cody asks, with an adjustable gas block, where would I go with the weight of the buffer?
Standard.
Okay.
Standard, unless you want to go a little lighter weight and dial it down even further. Because when you reduce the mass of the buffer, you're effectively reducing the mass of the buffer and carrier system. So that means it's going to take a lot less gas to operate it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can dial it down as far as you want, as long as you have that adjustable gas block.
Yeah, that's the beauty of an adjustable gas block.
Right.
You can play with it.
The advantage of having the lighter buffer or lighter carrier would be that it's going to return faster. That same power spring is going to shove it forward faster, and your follow-up shots will be faster, and that's how the 3-gun game is played.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers that question. Jeffrey asks, do you sell skeletonized lowers? Yes, we do. We have this particular one. I think F1 is the only brand where we sell some skeletonized receivers. You can see here on the upper, they got your standard ejection port, and then you got these serrations on the side.
Right. And the magazine well is all but non-existent.
Yep. And if you want to hand me a mag, show you how that. So there you go. And that's about all you can skeletonize on a lower. I'm sure other guys have done some more over here, but you probably don't want to expose your trigger group to debris and that sort of thing. Just my thought on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sides of the mag well, they're just kind of there for rigidity. But removing it for a competition rifle, that's not a big deal.
Nope.
So that's from F1 Firearms. They're skeletonized upper and lower.
It still looks cool. I don't care what it weighs.
Jake asks, do you see more wear in the mag well and pinholes with the poly lower?
The wear will be there. Anytime you're sliding one part past another. I noticed the pistol companies have done a very good job with their magazines. Not only are they double stacked normally and they're tapered on the sides, but they're very well polished at the top. So when you slam a mag in to like a Glock or an XD or Smith & Wesson M&P, what have you, they're not introducing a lot of wear and tear there. However, I could see an M16 magazine, you know, wearing on the back of your mag well over time. I don't know if it would ever affect it to the point where the gun wouldn't feed, though. I don't think it would ever shut the gun down. I don't care how much you used it. I don't think it would matter.
And I'm not sure about the pinholes either.
No, the pinholes, I don't know. That would be, you know, depend on the quality of the manufactured product.
Sure. Okay. Sean asks, what components would make the biggest weight difference from a cost-benefit ratio? I almost got a pencil profile barrel on my first build, but was talked out of it because supposedly heat buildup can be an issue. Should we be concerned with a lightweight barrel profile at all?
The lighter the barrel, the less steel in it, less density, and therefore the faster it builds up to a certain temperature. It'll just build up faster than a big barrel will. And if there's stress in the barrel, it'll start to walk. It'll start to walk its shots across the point of impact on the target. That's the price you pay for a lightweight barrel a lot of times. Once in a while, you'll get a barrel that'll shoot all day long through the same hole and be no bigger than this. That's called luck. But like I said, I used a standard M16A1 in basic training. It shot to point of aim no matter how often I shot it, you know, repeated over many, many strings out on the firing line.
The barrel is probably your biggest point of weight savings, though.
By
it's
far.
also going to be the biggest thing that factors into how your gun handles, because all this weight is forward. If you go lighter, your barrel's going to swing nicer or faster anyways. There's going to be some perceived weight, less weight up front on you. Personally, I think this is the way to go if you're looking to save weight. And keep in mind, what are you going to be doing with the rifle? Are you going to be, if you're planning on having sustained firing strings of 120, 200 rounds at a time in a very short time period, probably want a thicker profile barrel. But if you're going to shoot a magazine here or there at the range, or you're going to take it out as a patrol rifle, you're probably not going to run into that scenario where it's really going to matter a whole lot, especially within, say, a certain distance, 200 yards or so.
Right. You can still build a 6-pound rifle. It's capable of all that, though.
Exactly.
Just use a standard M4 style barrel and you're there.
Yep. So lightweight barrel is probably the most cost-effective weight savings route you can go. And the barrel here, this is one of the cheapest items up here. This is, I believe, I want to say under $150.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong on that, but this is inexpensive way to really drop the weight on your gun. Okay, so we got most of those covered. Anything else you think we should hit on, Steve, when it comes to lightweight?
We've gotten, let's see, we've gotten magazines, buttstocks, receiver upper and lower, bolt carrier, barrel. Just off the rack stuff that's inexpensive, you can build a pretty light carbine just by using Magpul MOE stock and MOE forend if you don't mind a non-free floating forend.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't add a lot of weight.
Yeah, so when we're talking lightweight today, we're talking 4 or 5 pounds. You can buy an off-the-shelf standard carbine, cost you maybe $600. It's about 6 pounds. That's not heavy by any means.
No.
We're just talking about the extreme end of that.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And this is pretty extreme, some of this stuff here.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep. Pretty cool stuff. So I think that's going to cover everything for today. If you asked a question and we didn't get to it, I apologize. We can go back later and we'll shoot you a message there on Facebook and get that question answered. So if you're interested in any of the items here today, check out our catalog, our website, Brownells.com. We've got a lot of cool lightweight parts. We got a lot of just quality parts in general. Everything's backed by our 100% guarantee. Say you go out and you try that adjustable gas block and buffer combination.
Right.
For whatever reason it doesn't work for you, you don't like it, send it back.
We'll take it back. No questions asked.
Yep. Yep. So check out our website. Check out our YouTube channel. This video will get posted up there later. We got a lot of other great videos on the YouTube channel and our Learn site on our own website. So if you're curious how to assemble an AR-15, a lot of these parts go together just like standard AR-15 components.
Right.
So,
right. There's not much difference at all.
Yep. So check out those videos. They're a great resource. Give Steve a call on our tech line.
Right. Don't wait for the next video. Just call us up and let us talk to you.
Yeah, give him a call. We got a great Guntech resource. We got trained gunsmiths. They'd be happy to walk you through selecting the right parts for your rifle. It's a free service. We don't charge you. Just give us a call. We don't mind. So again, thank you for the time. We appreciate the questions. We look forward to doing this again.
Yeah,
thought this was fun.
A lot of fun. And thanks for your support on the Facebook Live from SHOT Show and the earlier one on the 1911. We appreciate you watching.
Yep. That's it this time. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.